I'm 29 male, and my wedding day was supposed to be the best day of my life. At least, that's what I'd been telling myself. I'd found someone I truly loved, T, and I was ready to start a life with her. But I should have known deep down that my older brother, was going to find a way to ruin it. He's always been the golden child. You know the type, the one who can do no wrong in our parents' eyes, the one they always shielded from any consequence. I tolerated it growing up. I stayed in the shadows, let him take the spotlight, because I figured that's just how it was. He was the charmer, the straight-A student, the star athlete. Me? I was just me. I got by, tried to avoid drama, but M was always there, making sure I never had anything for myself. And that included my wedding. From the second I introduced T to my family, M had something to say. It was like he made it his mission to undermine everything about our relationship. You sure she's with you for the right reasons, bro? Or, man, she's out of your league. Must be a catch somewhere. He'd say it like it was a joke, like he was just messing around, but I knew better. He wasn't joking. T would just smile, brush it off. She was strong, stronger than I was when it came to M's bullshit. But I could see it wearing on her. And honestly, it wore on me, too. I'd let him get away with so much over the years, but this was different. This was my wife. The wedding started off fine, the ceremony was beautiful, T looked incredible. And for a moment, I thought maybe, just maybe M would behave himself. But of course, that was too much to ask. The reception is where it all went to hell. M had been drinking since the morning, but it wasn't like anyone stopped him. Why would they? M can do no wrong, right? He grabbed the mic during the speeches, completely uninvited. I knew immediately it was going to be bad. My stomach dropped as soon as I saw him stumble up there, slurring already. All right, everyone, let's give it up for my little bro and his lovely bride. M started, raising his glass and grinning like a jackass. People clapped, but it was awkward. There was this tension in the air. Everyone could feel it, except M. Or maybe he felt it, but didn't care. He turned to T, his grin widening. T, man, you really scored big with my brother. Guess you figured out the perfect way to lock him down. Ha! I saw T tense up beside me. She smiled, but I could tell she was trying not to lose it. I felt my blood boiling, but I kept quiet. I didn't want to make a scene. I hoped M would just stop, but no, he was only getting started. You know, he said, pausing for dramatic effect, T and I go way back. The room fell silent. My heart stopped. Where the hell was he going with this? M chuckled like he was letting everyone in on some private joke. Yeah, she probably doesn't want me to mention it, but we met before my bro got lucky with her. In a professional setting, if you know what I mean. There was a stunned silence followed by a ripple of gasps from the crowd. My head started spinning. I saw T's face turn white, her hands trembling as she clutched her napkin. She looked at me, eyes wide, pleading silently for me to do something. But I was frozen. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and was loving it. He grinned at me, swaying slightly. Oh, you didn't know. Bro thought she would have told you about her other job before you tied the knot. I stood up, rage surging through me. Shut the hell up, M. What the hell are you talking about? M shrugged, still smirking. Just telling the truth. You should know who you're marrying, right? I mean, everyone's seen her around. She's got a reputation, bro. You son of A. I took a step toward him, fists clenched, but T grabbed my arm, tears streaming down her face. Stop, she whispered, shaking her head. Please don't. I felt like I was going to explode. The room was dead silent, everyone watching, waiting for the train wreck to unfold. I looked around, searching for some kind of support, but my parents? My dad just sat there, staring at the table like none of this was happening. My mom glanced between me and M, looking uncomfortable but saying nothing. Of course they wouldn't intervene. M was untouchable. Why are you doing this? I shouted, voice cracking. Why the hell would you humiliate us like this on my wedding day? M laughed, actually laughed, like I was the crazy one. Humiliate? Nah, man. I'm just looking out for you. You're always too trusting. Bro thought you deserved to know who you're really marrying. That's when I snapped. You think you're so perfect, don't you? I snarled, stepping closer to him, always acting like you're better than everyone. But guess what, Em? You're a fucking fraud. M's grin faltered for the first time, his eyes narrowing. What the hell are you talking about? I didn't even hesitate. Remember that stolen car, the one you crashed when you were 22? Or did you forget that Dad had to pay off the cops to make sure you didn't get thrown in jail for nearly killing someone? The air was sucked out of the room. M's face went pale. He opened his mouth to say something, but I wasn't done. Yeah, that's right, I continued, voice rising. You stole a car, got drunk, and crashed it into a fucking tree. And you would have gone to prison if it wasn't for Dad bailing your ass out. But you never faced any consequences, did you? Because you're the golden child. M can do no wrong, right? I glanced around the room, locking eyes with my parents. My dad looked like he wanted to sink into the floor. My mom, she wouldn't even meet my gaze. Typical. You've always been a screw-up, M. I spat. But no one ever holds you accountable. You just keep getting away with everything while the rest of us clean up your mess. But not anymore. You want to drag my wife's name through the mud? Fine. But we're not playing by your rules anymore. M's hands were clenched into fists now, his face red with rage. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, I know exactly what I'm talking about, I shot back. And so does everyone here now. You're not some fucking Saint M. You're a lying, entitled prick who's been handed everything his whole life, and you think you can just shit on people because no one ever calls you out. Well, guess what? I'm calling you out. The silence was deafening. M stood there shaking, but he didn't say anything. He couldn't. For the first time in his life, he had nothing to say. I turned to T, who was still trembling, tears streaming down her cheeks. I wrapped my arm around her and whispered, "Let's get out of here." We left. We didn't even stay for the rest of the reception. I couldn't. Not after that. We walked out of the venue hand in hand, and I didn't look back. In the weeks after, everything fell apart for M. People started talking, whispers about his past, about the stolen car, about how our parents had covered up for him his whole life. He tried to spin it, tried to make himself the victim, but no one was buying it. His golden boy image was shattered. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel some satisfaction in that. As for me and T, it took time, but we're rebuilding. She was hurt, humiliated, but she's strong. Stronger than anyone gives her credit for. We moved on. We had to. M and I, we don't talk anymore. I don't think we ever will again. And honestly, I'm fine with that. He crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. Family or not, I won't tolerate that kind of toxicity in my life anymore. So yeah, that's how my brother tried to destroy my wedding and my wife, and how I finally stood up to him. If you've got a toxic family member like that, my advice? Don't let them keep pushing you down. And hey, if you want to hear more stories about family drama, you know what to do. Subscribe. Trust me, I've got plenty more where this came from.